Good morning, and it's always nice to be in Sri Lanka. I was saying this is my eighth visit to Sri Lanka. So yesterday I landed up. I'm based out of Chennai, and I landed up in Colombo yesterday afternoon, and I took a cab from there to my hotel here. I'm staying in the same hotel. The cab driver was a very knowledgeable person. He knew a lot about cricket. He struck a conversation with me. And he said, "Sir, are you aware that today is India-Sri Lanka match?" I said, "Yeah, very much aware." And he switched on the commentary, that was in Sinhalese language, so I never understood. And suddenly he became excited. He said, "Sir, Sharma is out, sir." Because we lost Rohit Sharma initially. "So you want India to win, sir?" He asked me. I said, "No, I want India to lose." He was surprised. I said, "India has been winning too many matches, right? And India has to fail. If they lose, then they will not become overconfident, because I'm still worried how India is going to really play in the semifinals and those crucial matches. Because you keep on winning, you become overconfident. Failure is required for you to succeed, both for individuals and for businesses, right? Anyway, yesterday's match was good. I watched it very thoroughly. I enjoyed this match, but it was not to my liking, because the outcome was I wanted India to lose. Anyway, to start off with, there is a statement which was made by one Mr. Jeff Immelt. Jeff Immelt was the former CEO of General Electric, the manufacturing giant globally. And he said this 10 years ago, in 2014, he made a statement. And the statement is, if you were to go to bed as an industrial and a manufacturing company, you would wake up in the morning as a software and analytics company. This was the statement which he made, a very powerful and a very profound statement, which encompasses the kind of change we are seeing riding on digital technologies. And someone recently said that the change you're going to witness in the next 10 years is going to be far more than the change we witnessed in the last 100 years. That's looks to be very exciting, very challenging, and yet very, very scary. So what's the kind of world we are living in? We are living in, a VUCA world. A VUCA world, VUCA, very volatile, unpredictable, right? Very complex and very ambiguous. We are not able to predict anything at all. Who was able to predict the COVID? Who was able to predict and forecast that there would be a Russia-Ukraine war? And who predicted that this Russia-Ukraine war would continue for so many months? Who predicted that there would be a supply chain problem where we have every country face semiconductor issues, correct? Supplies. And who predicted Israel-Hamas conflict? And we don't know at this point in time the kind of trajectory it's going to take in the future and the kind of impact it's going to have on the global economy. So I'm sure people here, even if you ask your sales guys, the panelists I'm asking, even if you ask your sales guys on the 30th, last day of the month, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, what would be your closing sales? He would be only looking at you. He will not be in a position to give you even those numbers also. So we are living in a very, very, a VUCA world, a very, very unpredictable world. So how does that impact the organization? What are organizations doing to face this unpredictable world? And Pratik very wonderfully articulated on the importance of resilience, right? So there are words which have become very, very dominant after COVID. Words like agility, resilience, and adversities, and so on. Immunity, and so on. So what are organizations trying to do? Organizations globally are trying to now build resilience. Resilience is not your ability, not only being strong, but resilience is also when you fail and when you fall, you're able to quickly get up, right? That is resilience. And here compliments again, and I think Pratik mentioned about this, compliments to the Sri Lankan people for you to bounce back very, very strongly. I know you're still not reached your 100% normalcy, but you were resilient and you were able to bounce back within a very, very short period. So for resilience, so organizations are trying to build immunity. And immunity is a very, very popular word after COVID, right? And what do you do for immunity? If you want to build immunity in your body, What do? They say you need to build antibodies. You need antibodies for building immunity. For antibodies, you need proteins, correct? Now, proteins are the building blocks for building antibodies in your organization, in your body. Similarly, in organizations, organizations are trying to build antibodies. The antibodies could be strengthening your HR, your employee engagement, your finance transformation, your supply chain transformation, your sourcing transformation, your HR transformation, and so on. They're all the antibodies you're trying to either build newly or you're trying to reinforce. And what are those proteins there for that? The proteins are your digital technologies, your platforms, your various platforms, right? Which you are using now, organizations are deploying for strengthening the immunity and the resilience of the organization. So in this whole story, before we start the discussion, the role of technology leaders and all the people sitting here has become very, very critical. Whether it's a CIO, whether it's a CTO, whether it's a chief digital officer, whoever it is, your role has become very, very crucial. To the extent where technology leaders are expected to play multiple roles, and I call this as a Dashavatar. You know, avatar, Dashavatar. In India, in Hindu mythology, we talk of Dashavatar. Dash means 10. There are 10 different roles that technology leaders are expected to play today. You're a chief information officer, you're a chief transformation officer, you're expected to drive innovation in the organization, you're the chief innovation officer, you're expected to drive process, you become the chief process officer. The moment you are driving process, data, you become the chief data officer. The moment you talk of data, you can't take your eyes off from security, cyber security. You become the chief information security officer. You become the chief change officer because you need to be managing change in the organization. I don't know whether I've got 10 roles. The 10 roles, and the 11th role is all technology leaders. Suneet, I don't know whether you'll agree, is the chief harassed officer in their organization. Correct? No, people are asking for a lot of things from you today. People want everything to be delivered yesterday. And how are you coping up? That is the context today, right? Technology is playing a very major role. Technology leaders are playing a very, very major role in driving transformation across organizations. And we have a wonderful panel of speakers here, very, very esteemed panel with a lot of experience they bring in. So we will hear from the technology leaders as to how they are driving transformation and digital transformation in their organization. I will start off with probably Ravindra, because there's no particular order. It is just because you're sitting in the middle, I just saw you, and then I started off Ravindra. Ravindra, how are you driving? Because he comes from an organization which is a group. He heads the group IT. And there are at least about 40 plus companies in your group, Hema's holding, right? 40 different companies, very diversified, healthcare, mobility, and so on and so forth. What are the kind of challenges? How are you driving? Can you share how are you driving transformation in a very, very diversified group, and what are the kind of challenges that you have?
Right. I think it's a question itself is a very challenging to answer because since, like you correctly said, that so we are into multiple verticals, multiple sectors. There are a lot of diversification inside it. So there is no one single business model that we're trying to cater. But I think, having said that, we all know, because the digital transformation is, I don't think it's something very new to all of us here. Probably that we would have been used multiple different words in the past to, reflect on what we have been doing. Probably this would have been kind of a buzzword which actually came out, but obviously there is a reason behind it why we are, promptly talking about this subject today. The main reasons are what you actually mentioned out, because hence you need to actually accelerate certain things, so hence become a top topic today, in my view. But so when you look at, kind of this thing now, because since we have been going through this journey for a while, so there are ups and downs, learnings and all that. So what I probably touched base, few learnings that what we had, and probably I believe that would have been sort of a good for you guys also, like when you plan out or when you go through these journeys as well. So one is obviously, I think, so when you embarked on such journey, so you need to be extremely clear about the goals. What you're trying to achieve through the digital transformation. You call it either digital transformation or a business transformation, whatever, but you need to be very clearly articulate the success that you want to go, because that differ to business. So the organization that I work probably looking at things may not be relevant for another organization because your aspirations are maybe different. So that is very, very crucial. And then to get the buying from your board, the leaders, into that, because it's not like sort of a, bottoms-up approach. It has to be the top-down approach. Unless otherwise, the leaders are believing the success of the digital transformation, which will bring it to the organization, it will not be a successful journey. So that is number two. But having said that, because, so when you really embark on that, because, so I see like there are three aspects on it. I mean, we all agreed on it. I'm pretty much sure, like, because it's not only about the technology, it's all around the people, your processes, and the technology. Because in my opinion, the technology piece is the most straightforward, the easiest part. But just bringing the technology will not give you anything out, right? So you need to look at the people aspects. When I say the people, it's not only like your internal, the employees, but it's all around your external, the partners, your stakeholders, and even to extend of your customers as well, because unless otherwise they are ready to accept the change that you are trying to bring it, and if they have not, the skilled up with getting into the technology that you are bringing, and it will not be a successful journey for you. And obviously, not only that, even the culture of the organization that you are in also matters in this kind of a journey. Yeah. I believe like other speakers would also be touched based on some of these aspects as well. So I'll just take a pause on that because so these all aspects in a conglomerate like us, when we look at it, it's completely different. So you have to tailor-made certain initiatives into those verticals, and that is where that you can actually drive some success.
So Ravindra very wonderfully articulated about the importance of the buy-in and the sponsorship and the patronage of the senior leadership in any transformation initiative that an organization takes, correct? If you have to drive change, you cannot drive change unless the senior leadership team is involved in it. There is a saying, when you are expected to drive change management, correct? When I'm saying change management, it is related to people and not the kind of change management which we talk as part of ITL standards. That's different, right? Here we're talking of people challenges, and technology leaders are supposed to drive change management. So if the leaders are not able to do change management, then what should you do? You should change the management, right? Right. Having said, let's hear from Arjuna on your transformation journey in Midas Safety. And by the way, they make a lot of safety equipments, right? Globally, it's a Canadian company and spread across the globe. Yeah.
Actually, we started our digital transformation journey in 2015. We were one of the pioneers in adopting cloud technology because our data centers was in Pakistan, and then a lot of disruption, the connectivity, and other countries can't access. There was a lot of challenge. But what we have done is actually I got a commitment from the senior team. It's amazing. Up to till today, actually, that commitment is there. Then after that, we articulate, actually, we want to go to what are the pillars, right? We have digital core, ERPs are established, and then the platform, then the partnership, right? Then I think before we start any initiative, I think better to understand what are the things you want to do. You want to do on-prem or cloud, then you have a separate strategy, right? If you want to have on-prem, then what are the cybersecurity issues, information protection, and how much they cost. And then very easy to justify the TCO based on that, right? If you go to the cloud, you have a inbuilt security coming. We cannot build that on-prem. And then the cost, very easy to explain. Then the partnership, right? Once you do this journey, you have to decide you want to have in-house team, or you have to have partners. The ecosystem also
Correct.
you have to finalize. Right? Otherwise, during the journey, you think, okay, we select the wrong partner, wrong product. Because I think the important part is you have to finalize everything. If you don't think about the product and articulate the strategy, right? Your strategy should
Correct.
to do the first,
Right.
and then you will find the product. Otherwise, it's very difficult because it's very correct, right? Industry to industry, Midas challenges are not. We are OEM manufacturer, and our forecasting accuracy is the problem. Because even our customers, they don't know. Sometimes we ask the customer, right? Sometimes the oil and gas industry is going up one side, and then that category of gloves going up. Then we need a raw material. There is a huge lead time. The cut price is 10 range. Because those are the really a challenge. I think when you articulate the strategy or the transformation journey, please understand with those basic things. What are the platform you want? You want to cloud, then what are the challenges? And then cybersecurity, what are the things? Because today we are running 0 data centers and 0 network centers, all on cloud. And even security also, last year we had 2 network centers regionally, and we retired those also.
So, if I were to, kind of take some takeaways from whatever you said, I think Arjuna wonderfully spoke about the importance of partnership in any transformation journey, in any digital transformation. Today things have become very complex. Technology has become very complex. You can't do everything alone. You need to have partners. And it is the responsibility of the technology leaders to build that partner ecosystem. It could be partnership with your vendors, it could be partnership with your startup ecosystem, it could be a partnership with your academia, your universities and all that, who can also provide a lot of support. So partnership in a digital transformation becomes very, very important, and technology leaders have to play a very, very important role. I come to Suneet next. And Suneet, this is a kind of a follow-up question to what both Ravindra and Arjuna spoke about. On digital transformation is just not about technology. It's about culture change. And the moment you say culture change, it is all about people change, right? And it is not very easy for you to change people. It is not a binary system, correct? That today you have a culture and you press a button, I have an initiative going, some culture hack, tomorrow the culture changes. It doesn't happen that way. What are your views? How do you build this kind of culture which is conducive to driving transformation in the organization? And what does the role of a technology leader like you play in this whole journey?
All right. So coming to your point, let me put it this way. So all these are basically technology leaders in this forum. So for a business to change, or rather go for a digital transformation, what is the need for a business? So I'm trying to disrupt a bit, right? So for technology leaders, yes, digital transformation is a feather on their hat. That's right. But for the business, why? So this is what we need to first figure it out. So as technology leaders, we need to figure it out why the digital transformation is required for a business. Why? To resolve their pain points. That's the bottom line, right? Nothing else. It may be the top line, bottom line. It may be certain efficiency improvements. But whatever said and done, finally, digital transformation has to resolve their problems. So if you ask the leadership of an organization to list down their pain points, at least the top 10, after we do the digital transformation, at least out of those 10, at least 8 or 9 has to be resolved. If not, it is no good for them, right? So that's where the culture change will come. So if we are to address these pain points and to give them an assurance, we are going to resolve this. So that's where the culture change would start. So like Tuendra said, the senior leadership has to take the leading the lead role of a digital transformation where they will basically change the values of the organization to embrace the digital transformation, or rather change culture.
Correct.
Right? So digital transformation is basically about change, nothing else. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah? Whether it is digitalization or digitization, it's all about change.
Yeah.
So when we give them the assurance of, right, we are going to, this particular transformation is going to change or rather resolve your pain points, that's where the change culture will start, initiate.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So then from there onwards, it's a matter of, delivering the promise. So that's my thought on it.
Wonderful. So just to add to what Suneet was saying, in the organization where I was working in India, my CEO, my managing director to whom I was reporting into, he used to always say, and they used to call me VN, Venkatesh Natarajan, shortly VN. He used to say, VN, we have to develop a culture in the organization where when any business user, irrespective of whichever function he is or department he is, HR or sourcing, manufacturing, quality, whatever, he says the first thing, the culture has to be built where when they encounter a challenge, the first thing they should think of is, hey, how do I use technology to address and mitigate the pains and the problems that I'm facing in the respective functions, right? So that really opens up the thinking of the people, and that will facilitate technology leaders to drive, innovation and transformation at scale. I'll come to Tarindra. Tarindra comes from, he's from Capital Alliance, and that's part of the BFSI. And in any part of the globe, BFSI is a very regulated industry, including India also. It's all regulated by the central bank, Reserve Bank of India, right? But still, BFSI is the industry which has undergone the maximum transformation. 40 years ago, when they introduced computerization in India, all the bank employees were on strike because they said, we are going to lose our jobs. Today, technology, digital is the lifeline of the banking industry, right? And there's a lot of innovation which is happening in the banking industry. So my question is, on one hand, you want to drive innovation. On the other hand, the more and more you try to drive innovation, right, there are potential risks, security concerns. People in their, all employees in your organization, in their, josh, that energy to drive innovation, they want a lot of things to be made open. They want Gmail to be open, they want Google Drive to be open, everything to be open. So on one hand, you have to drive innovation. On the other hand, you can't take your eyes off from protecting the organization's assets. Right? There are with all these security concerns, especially when cyber security is very high. What are your thoughts on how are you handling that?
Yes, so just to maybe give a little bit of background, so as Cal, we have been an investment bank in Sri Lankan BFSI sector. So we have been very much an institutional player a few years ago. And we made this strategic decision to go retail and kind of democratize typical investment banking products that were not kind of available to the wider public of Sri Lanka. Products like unit trust funds, treasury bills and bonds, things like the stock market access. So we made a strategic decision to democratize these products through digital. And then COVID happened. And of course, then we saw real adoption kick in through Sri Lankans, and they demanded more financial savviness and more competing products because they just don't want to keep their money saved in a fixed deposit or a savings account. So we moved our entire customer onboarding process, our customer engagement online. And now almost 99% of our customers get onboarded digitally. So of course, coming back to cybersecurity, this opened up a lot of avenues where, and kind of increased our risk and cybersecurity posture, where there can be multiple avenues where we are open for attack or issues. So from the beginning itself, we made the strategic decision that cybersecurity needs to be baked into your products that you deliver. It cannot be an afterthought. So you cannot complete design, build, and test a product, and then think about, oh, do we need to kind of do a security audit on this and find the flaws? That's kind of a backward thinking approach, which unfortunately we still see happening, and it's sometimes hard to avoid. So, I mean, along with the kind of the level of now, I have been lucky to attend many security conferences and product demonstrations over the last year, and the level of products that's coming in, especially with AI being enabled into these security products, is fantastic. So the opportunity is there for product teams, for innovation teams to leverage on these products and help design their products with cybersecurity inbuilt, with that focus in mind from the beginning itself. And one of the key enablers for this, what we found, is that you cannot outsource this. You need to have your cybersecurity innovation, your cybersecurity competence in-house.
Yeah.
That is something that you cannot depend on third parties to come and advise you on a regular basis on your core business operation. So if you're going at 200 miles per hour, your cybersecurity initiatives also need to go at 200 miles per hour.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's my thought on that.
So I think a very interesting point which he brought out, which I liked, was when he said that security has to be embedded as part of your regular process, right? So, we guys talk of, all tech guys, we talk of DevOps, and then we embedded security, and then it became DevSecOps. And then sustainability becomes important. I said, DevSusOps, you'll have to embed sustainability into everything you do. So security by design is an important takeaway. So when you design applications, solutions, develop, build, and test, you need to embed security initially as part of the overall design itself. I want to add one more point. I'm not quite sure to what extent Sri Lanka is on data privacy. In India, there is a new law, which is called the DPDP law, Digital Data Protection Law. So data privacy by design is also now important, apart from security by design, is what I want to do. I'll come to you, Koganathan. He comes from Janashakti, and as I understand, you're into insurance products, right? And today, technology is playing a very major role, a very critical role in insurance companies coming out with very, very innovative products, insurance products. Can you share some examples of how technology is helping the insurance company? Do you have, for example, computer vision technology? You take a photo, and then that analyzes the extent of damage on a vehicle when it comes to motor insurance and stuff like that.
Sure. Thank you for
And
that.
then a day probably will come when it comes to health insurance. You look at Venkatesh Natarajan and you say, how healthy I am, and this is the premium you'll have to pay based on that.
Absolutely. So that is the kind of a digital maturity where we are embarking ourselves at the moment. So what we have done over the past couple of years is we have taken the approach of, because our sector is not only insurance, we have a group of companies which includes the investment banking, finance companies, and the real estate. So we have comprised of the group, it's called Janashakti Group. So in that group, our motive is like exponential growth. So that is the growth that we want to. In this journey, what we have done is like we have taken the outside inside approach.
Yeah.
Because we are service oriented. Entire sector is service oriented. In the service oriented companies, the key success is how your design thinking approach on the customer journey. That is a success. So entire journey should be focused on the customer acquisition and customer stickiness and customer sustainability. These three aspects has to be very, very important for us. So otherwise, the outside is they are looking for the competitive is very much on the pricing in terms of service level we should be. So what we have done is we have taken the approach of outside to inside approach.
Yeah.
What are the customers' demands and what the customers' convenience that we can provide so that at the time of customers' onboarding is very key success. As my friend is indicating, how even like our entire customer journey is now 100% paperless.
Okay.
and in our group is 100% paperless. So we are going towards a green digital economy on that. And we have seen that how that bringing the consumers are very happy also. The service-oriented level has increased
Significantly
dramatically.
improved. Okay.
In terms of, I'm sure some you all heard about the story about underwriting, and one of the indication is they have indicated the RPA, robotic process automation. We had before these robotic process automation within our organization, we had 23 underwriters. Now, because we brought this AI-based underwriting process inside, we have only 3 underwritings.
Wow.
And the business has gone up by 3 times.
Wow.
So this is the process oriented we have adapted.
Yeah.
And for this, very success is for us is the internal, the blessings from the business stakeholders.
Very good.
Always very important thing is we got the blessing from the internal business stakeholders who is a leader and we call him as a champion.
Yeah.
We had to be at the back end.
Yeah.
The technology people should be always back end,
Yeah.
has to be enabler. You put others as a champion.
Yeah.
So there is a buying from the business
Yeah.
to take the digital transformation journey.
Yeah.
And we had to go and convince the board.
Yeah.
Look, these are the things we have brought up. So it's like a partnership.
And you asked for more budget from the board.
More budget and to take it forward to the next level. So this is how we have started the journey, and continuously we are embarking in all 3 companies.
Oh, absolutely. See, insurance industry has been one which has latched on to technology, and the use of technology is pretty thing. On the lighter side, I would say, jokingly, I would say, they are damn good in, having call centers. So when your car insurance is going to expire, they will start, all the insurance companies will start calling me and then saying, sir, please renew, sir, please renew. Everybody's, my question is, hey, how did you get that data? It is my data. And all the insurance companies in India, they keep calling me and, asking me to renew the insurance. I'll come to you, Rasanta. He comes from the telecom industry, Mobitel. And the telecom industry is an industry which is very, very technology intensive. You use a lot of technology. Whether it's your switching equipments, high funda, high capacity routers and switches and so on, to even applications also, right? And I know how, to a certain extent, to how telecom companies use data in terms of the signals they get from the towers, and then they find out, in this particular area, the signal strength is less, they do a heat map, a lot of applications they develop for, improving the customer services. Can you share some light on how data, this 4-letter word called data has become so critical, right? So important. And today we say data is an asset, Pratik, data is the new oil, data is the new currency. 1 month ago, if you had asked me in India, I said, no, data is not the new oil. Tomato is the new oil, because tomato prices went up very high. Right? I'm not quite sure in Sri Lanka. How is data playing out in the telecom industry? Any examples of how?
Yeah, it's a good question. I will first start with how data has become so important in telecoms world. Because first of all, today's world, we consider telcos as enablers of all the industries like my colleagues are operating in. So we are supposed to bring in efficiencies to each and every industry vertical and enhance their productivity, efficiency, and thereby contributing to the upliftment of the economy as well.
Yep.
So in that endeavor, I think first we have to be transformed, or rather simultaneously on the
By the way,
fly.
you have 5G networks here?
We have a trial network.
5G?
5G trial network, because the commercial license has not been issued by the regulator, but we are expecting
Okay.
it will happen next year.
But my mobile shows only 4G.
Yeah, there are certain things.
Okay.
You will get a
Trial
message.
version, okay.
When you come to a zone, you will get a message, and then you have to
Okay.
latch on to that, because it's not a commercial service at the moment.
Okay.
So I was saying, we are sitting, traditionally, telcos sitting on a gold mine of data, So I must say that, up to now, we are also to be blamed because we have not utilized this data to the extent possible. Because that has not been there has not been a urgency or, dire need for that. But, we know how telcos got evolved, and, a lot of challenges came from the OTT players, and, they are taking a large portion of our revenues and running on top of the telco networks, but, pushing their services without any compensation for the right compensation, I would say, to the telcos, which are asset heavy. So, so I would say in simple terms, voice and data, the traditional, bread and butter for telcos, has become commoditized. So we are running at the lowest. In Sri Lanka, I must tell that we are world's probably third from the bottom, the rates-wise. So with that...
So it's very affordable, you're saying?
Yes.
Wow.
So with that, we all know last year what happened. Up to now, the electricity tariffs gone up by 135%. And with the dollar depreciation, rupee depreciation, when most of our capex is dollar forex based, it has gone up by 80%.
Okay.
So, and with the economic turmoil, people's buying capacity has shrunk by about 20%. We have seen, so we got, hit by both sides. The costs gone up,
okay,
and the revenues coming down. So, so that has pushed us more and more go into this digital transformation, because our traditional bread and butter is commoditized, and it's not giving the sustainability that we are looking at. In fact, the last year, the entire industry, which was growing north up to 2021, posted a negative 80 billion rupee
okay,
net negative, right? So that's the kind of challenge we are looking at today. So that is, it's really imperative that we do transform our companies into, data-driven cultures, data-driven operations. Because the simple reason is this, you start with certain quantum of data, you get actionable insights with your technologies, the AI and the stuff we are trying to implement. We have also not fully implemented. We are now embarking on it. So we get the actionable insights, and then you improve your business. And you get delta amount of customers into your base. And that will give us more and more data points for you to get your actionable insights.
Absolutely.
That becomes accurate.
Correct.
So that way you get into a virtuous cycle of growth.
Correct.
So that is the bottom line, So that is why actually not only for a telco, but for any business, today's very competitive landscape, is very important for us to get into a data-driven culture, data-driven operation.
Correct.
So that will put you all into a, at the base level, to a growth cycle.
Correct.
Then you have to get into the other improvements, customization, products, and go into digital products in order to bring this game. And you have to bring in an innovative culture, innovation. I must say that quite opposed to what we have been doing with huge investments. We have been trying to reduce uncertainty of getting our ROI.
Correct.
But what do we do with this reduction of uncertainty? And we actually kill the innovation also. So that's why people say that traditional telcos are not very good in innovation. But now it's imperative that we need to bring in this innovation culture into us. So that is one of the main objectives of this transformation, which is, it's a dilemma itself, but we need to tackle
So
it.
data innovation in the telecom industry is of priority in terms of mining more value from the data. And on the lighter side, again, in the jokingly, in India we say, I don't know how many of you all understand Hindi. I will translate that later. Aaj data aata se sasta hai is a saying in Hindi. What it translates to is, today data is cheaper than wheat. Aata means wheat in Hindi. Data aata se sasta hai. So in India, data has become dirt cheap, thanks to a lot of business leaders who have made that possible. Our next topic is, we have spoken about digital transformation, data, importance of data, innovation, and so on. All this cannot happen unless you have a very, very robust infrastructure. Modernization is a continuous process. Modernizing it could be your IT infrastructure, your hardware, your storage, your compute, whatever, right? Or it could be modernizing your applications. Has to be a continuous affair, and it's not a joke. Depending on the organization and the size of that initiative, I can say a dealer management system in the automotive industry is very difficult. It would take 4 years for you to modernize, to completely implement that, right? So modernization is very complex. It is equivalent to open heart surgery. In an open heart surgery, what happens is they will remove your heart, but your body has to still continue working, no? Right? While they do all the repairs on your heart and all that. They can't allow the patient to die. So modernization is like that. While on one hand, you will have to keep on renovating and modernizing, you can't tell your users that, for the next 5 days, my ERP system will be down. Suneet, can you tell your Lion Brewery users? No, you can't, correct? At the same time, you'll have to modernize. I'm asking Tarindra the same question to Tarindra and to Arjuna on what are those challenges? How do you modernize your IT infrastructure? When I say IT infrastructure, includes applications, everything, and your approach to it. Probably Tarindra or Arjuna. Arjuna, A, starts with A, yeah? That's what you're saying. No problem. Go ahead, Tarindra.
Right. So, yeah, this is always a challenge in incumbent industries on the modernization journey. So what we have seen is obviously adoption of cloud technologies, now the new buzzword, AI technologies, and all of these transformative technologies. And the most important thing is that these technologies are now becoming available as SaaS applications. They're all getting tied together and being actually, again, I'm using this word, democratized at a lower price point where we can actually use these technologies in an enterprise context and innovate a lot more faster. But I also have come from the ERP business, and I worked in info, and I've seen implementations taking years and results to take such a long time to come. And me being a very impatient person, when I changed industries, I said I'm never going to stick to those kind of timelines, because the outside world is so much different. You can't wait for 2 years for results to appear, because by that time certain businesses would have already changed. Your business requirements would have changed. Customers' needs have changed. So what I'm a firm believer of, and what at Cal, this ethos of the minimum viable product. Let's try to get something out into the user's hands in the shortest time possible and get their feedback, and let's iterate on that. So obviously the agile methodology and all of those come into play there as well. But getting customer feedback, getting your users' feedback is very crucial at the early stages of a digital transformation product.
So you're talking agile methodologies are very important.
Correct.
Right? Whether you're using Scrum, whether you're using Kanban, whatever, right?
Yes. I mean, yeah, there's so many
Frameworks
out there you can adopt. But the important thing is to get a working model or product into your customers' or users' hands as soon as possible. Otherwise, your transformation efforts are just going to get bogged down and with years and years and the results. And then, you need to ask for more budgets and get more user acceptance tests done. And it's a never-ending cycle.
Okay. Arjuna, your last thoughts, quick thoughts on this.
Adding on that one is important, our experience actually to adapting the cloud technology.
Are there any open heart surgeries currently on in your organization? My example, I'm saying, I don't know. Okay. Yeah.
No, actually the cloud is the one enabler. Actually, if you adapt the correct platform, we can, now earlier traditionally you need to buy servers and all the things. Now within 2 hours we can commission the workload, right? And then what we follow is the roadmap approach also, because with the senior team and all the business users, we agreed only this feature will come with Q1 like that. That way we can ease out the pressure of IT team, internal teams.
Okay.
Another thing is cyber security also. We consider with the product actually. That's a one new segment coming up with dating. I think the adapting cloud and then agile technologies are the important things.
Okay. I think in the interest of time, we will do one last common question, Ravindra, to everyone. I will start from Rasanta there, this side. The question is, you have a large crowd here. You want to give some advices on all those to the audience on how they should look at digital transformation. In terms of, I just want some 2 or 3 points to say, this is advice I give you. If you want to start, get your senior leadership aligned, right? Get enough budgets for it. Something like that. What are those 1 or 2, 2 or 3, whatever it is? In just bullet points, if I were to ask you, let's do a rapid fire coming from that side.
Yeah, if I very concisely put it, as everybody said, senior team buy-in.
Buy-in, senior team buy-in.
And leading from front.
Leading from
by
the front.
Senior team.
Yep.
And of course, you need to establish few champions.
Yes. Second.
That's a core team.
Yeah, you need
of
to have a
champions.
proper core team. And that's a
Yeah.
problem, getting people is not an easy
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
And then I don't know whether I will upset few consultants here, but don't depend on consultants.
Oh, yeah.
Get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
You know, what I'm professing within our companies, there are, for me, there are 2 kinds of important processes. One is, of course, the customer serving processes. The second one is the internal processes where you need to make your processes efficient. Pick the top 5
Okay.
from
So
each.
3 points.
Yeah,
Let's, Suneet.
and put your hands on it.
Absolutely. There could be a lot of other things. Just 2 points for you only.
Okay. So I would tell just one point, which is very important, which I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
So make sure your process, people, and systems are basically in par when you do the digital transformation.
Okay.
Otherwise, I call it the 3-legged chair. Otherwise, you will never be able to sit on it. That's my point.
Okay.
Yes, again, I'll reiterate on what Rasant has actually said. Digital transformation you cannot outsource. You need to have a really capable, good team in-house. You need to build that capability within your organization. And try not to have masters only, you know, just experts only. Try to have as many as Swiss Army knife of a team. Like, you know, I'd rather have jack of all trades than a master of none.
The bigger thing is, in-house capability building is very, very critical. Correct? Ravindra?
Yeah, for me, like, my advice is not just to embark on a transformation journey without having sort of a time bound. Make sure that you actually run it as a program with very clear milestones
Correct.
and measurable outcome.
Right.
So that brings you
So-
to where you want to be.
Definition of the goal and the destination is very important in that transformation. Correct?
For us, is the purpose-driven digital transformation.
Very good.
Internally, internal stakeholders as well as external stakeholders give the confident and drive the purpose-driven digital transformation. It will make sense internally as well as externally.
Arjuna?
I think the one important thing is the destination is there, but technology evolves very fast, right? And then you have to revisit what are the technologies you want to go there. Sometimes we plan to go ABC, and then sometime now the ChatGPT and AI, and
Yeah.
the separate path you can take, right? Always open to the new thing, but destination may be fixed. Don't try to do this quarter, I'm doing this one, this year, this one. It's very difficult. Keep your objective, but you can have a different path in between.
So my concluding remarks is the role of technology leaders is very crucial in driving transformation enabled by technology. To the extent where technology leaders today, Suneet, Tirendra, they're all like the bartender. You're all like bartenders, including me. You know, bartender's job, you know, he has got a lot of, at the backside, he has got a lot of wonderful wines and whiskeys and all that. So whenever a customer walks in, and you know, in some of the countries, you need some certification for it to become a bartender. So whenever a customer walks in, he has to identify what the customer wants in terms of his liking, and then pick all those wines and whiskeys which are there in the background, and then mix it in the right proportion, and then to prepare those wonderful cocktails and mocktails which the customer would be delighted to have. So that's where the technology leaders have become bartenders. So thank you very much. And finally, before we don't have time for audience questions, we'll probably take it offline. Before we conclude, may I request all the panel speakers to keep their hand like this, like what I'm keeping? Like this. What do? This is like in a court, right? You take an oath, right? Now, on behalf of all the panel speakers, what I'm saying is that all the views and opinions and thoughts expressed by all the panel speakers, including me, were all original views, and nothing has been lifted from ChatGPT. Thank you very much.